and thank you. Thank you for allowing us to bring the thoughts of the 11,000 members of the Treaty Education Union Te Waitangi to you today. I want to begin by saying apologies from our two presidents of the union. We are now co-governed and have a president Māori, Huhana Watani, and a president Tangata Tiriti, Julie Douglas. Both are at other engagements and asked me to come on their behalf. I do want to say we've worked extensively with our members on what Te Treaty of Waitangi means to them because of the move to co-governance and a 50-50 partnership in all decision-making. For our Tangata Tiriti members, Te Treaty of Waitangi is actually crucial to all they do in terms of their sense of belonging in Aotearoa, their sense of belonging in our union, and the place on which they stand. For our tangata Māori members, they have said this, the Treaty of Waitangi, this space is theirs to hold in relationship with all who have come since they began their journey here in Aotearoa. So it is really important to acknowledge that it's not just for Māori to speak up, to stand up, and to acknowledge Te Treaty of Waitangi, and it is ours to make sure that the relationship works, which is what our union is trying to do. This is a foundation document also for us in terms of decolonisation of Aotearoa, of re-indigenisation of Aotearoa, and of an active move to try and get equity. It is critical in tertiary education sector that Te Treaty of Waitangi continue to form a foundation document and that the articles are used to drive tertiary education because of the ongoing and long-standing inequality faced by Māori in tertiary education. In our submission, we did say the difficulty with the bill is that it completely ignores the truth about what Te Treaty of Waitangi is to deliver, and it is not based in any fact of how we should operate as a Te Tiriti-led nation. It also, in our submission, we talk about the need to make sure that we understand fully how equality can be achieved. As a union, equality drives much of what we do, much of the action. Equality can only be served by adhering to the articles of Te Treaty of Waitangi and not rewriting it. We do not, under any circumstances, advance equality in Aotearoa by rewriting a constitutional document, nor by rewriting history. We must stand firm on our foundations and build on them. We see nothing in this bill that will provide for equality, and we do want to acknowledge how important it is to build equality in New Zealand. As I say, we are trying to do it by being co-governed as a union. We have Māori and Tangata Tiriti members sitting face to face, discussing, debating, deciding on our future together. This bill does not provide for that future. It is not something we can support in any way. And why is it so important that we sit face to face, that we work side by side as tangata Māori and tangata Tiriti in a union, in a nation, in a government? Why is that so important? Because of what we witness every day in terms of the reality of what colonisation has done to Māori in New Zealand and to tangata Tiriti. And I want to give two examples. The first is very personal. I have a beautiful niece who is currently 25 and the mother of a 2-year-old. When she was 5 years old, she did ballet, which is a very ordinary thing for a Kiwi to do. The thing is, she was the only Māori in the class. And she returned one day when I was sitting with her mother and she looked at me and she said, "Why can't I have fair hair like you? Why can't I be blonde? Why can't I be white like you?" When 5-year-olds in Aotearoa are questioning their identity, we absolutely have this wrong. And Te Treaty of Waitangi is the place where we can right this if we adhere to developing a strong relationship and a strong partnership. The second example is personal as well, in that I led much of the conversation around co-governance in our union. And in one meeting, one of our members working in a polytechnic, a Māori member of around 60 years of age, started to cry. And I wondered whether she was unhappy or what was going on. They were tears of joy. And she said to me, co-governance means for the first time in my life, the first time in my life in Aotearoa, I feel I have a genuine say in the future and a genuine place at the table for decision making. I think we should be ashamed that it's taken 60 years for this member to feel she has a place in her nation, in Aotearoa. Tangata tiriti need to do better. This government, this parliament, the nation needs to do better by Caitlin, by our Māori members who feel finally they have a place by co-governance. This bill harms that future. It divides us in ways we do not need and do not want. Please listen to the experts on Te Treaty of Waitangi. Listen to the Waitangi Tribunal. Listen to the submitters. And importantly, listen to the citizens of New Zealand. The citizens of Aotearoa want a nation where they can work together, no matter their history. They want to sit face to face and find a common future. Do not deny them that right. It is our Aotearoa to create, and you need to support us in creating it. So I urge you, the Tertiary Education Union urges you to reject this bill and all that it stands for.
Thank you, Sandra. We've got a couple of questions in the time remaining. The first is from Todd Stevenson, then Dr. Webb.
Thank you for being here. I'm just interested in your co-governance arrangements as a union. So do your members then decide if they're Maori or non-Maori, and then from those groups vote for the president and the other members?
Absolutely. So we ask Māori members to identify whether they're Māori and what from TEU and what hapu, and they make that decision, as always happens in New Zealand. We don't do anything else. But both presidents represent all members. They work together. They work face to face to make sure that we are the best union we can be. And the best union we can be is one that acknowledges Te Treaty of Waitangi, one that acknowledges the unique knowledge systems, the unique position of Māori members, and one that acknowledges the place we all have as tangata tiriti by virtue of Treaty of Waitangi. So actually, everybody's a winner when we get the right people at the decision-making table, and the right people are the two peoples that make up New Zealand.
Sandra. Todd, Dr. Webb.
Kia ora. Thank you for your submission and the work that you do. Look, I'm interested. The tertiary sector's a sector where there's been a real push to increase Māori participation, and there's been some significant success, over time. This is often either financial support or perhaps, kaupapa Māori learning support. Can you just talk briefly about how this increases equality rather than it being in any way unequal treatment?
Look, absolutely. And first of all, I want to acknowledge the entire education system for its role here, and in particular in building equality in our education system. Kura kaupapa Māori, kauanga reo movements have been critical because they provide Māori learners with a space and place that makes them feel valued, makes them feel honoured, makes them feel included. And similarly in the tertiary education sector, if you never see someone like you in a science lab, you don't see it as a place for you. So tertiary education institutions have taken very seriously the need to get more Māori in senior positions, more Māori at the decision-making table, more Māori in classrooms. And similar moves have been done, for example, in women in science, if you give the equivalent. Treating people differently is a good thing if it achieves better outcomes. So if Māori students need someone who specialises in Māori science communication to teach them, we should make sure that happens. We need their knowledge. We need all knowledge to solve the intransigent problems of this world. We're not going to solve climate change and poverty by just taking one knowledge system. So tertiary education can provide a linchpin to getting more people involved in decisions, more people involved in knowledge generation from the widest pool of knowledge that we can use. So that's how it is really critical that Te Waitangi remain a foundation of our sector, remain a foundation of our nation, because that will drive the best results for every single person.
Thanks, Doug, for the question. Thanks, Sandra. That's our time for this afternoon. So, on behalf of the committee, can I just thank you for being with us and appreciate you.
Thank you.